Hello, my name is Shirley Wu, and I'm a child nutrition specialist with the Oregon Department of Education. In this video, we will be reviewing infant meal pattern basics in the Child and Adult Care Food Program, also known as the CACFP. This video is part of a series of CACFP meal pattern shorts that was funded by a grant from USDA. Let's go over the learning objectives for this lesson. The first objective is to learn the different CACFP infant meal pattern age groups. The second objective is to understand what it means to serve developmentally appropriate meals for infants who are 6 months and older. The last objective is to know what components parents or guardians may provide and what components must be offered to the infant by the sponsor or provider. The infant meal pattern has two different age groups. The first age group is 0 to 5 months. The second age group is 6 to 11 months. On the child's first birthday, they will move into the child meal pattern. On the screen, you see the Oregon Department of Education's infant meal pattern chart. This chart shows all the required meal pattern components for each age group. The requirements for the 0 to 5 month age group are listed in the middle column, and the requirements for the 6 to 11 month olds are listed in the right column. Let's look at the requirements for the 0 to 5 month age group first. The only requirement for this age group is 4 to 6 ounces of breast milk or iron fortified formula for all reimbursable meals and snacks. The breast milk can be expressed, meaning it is pumped and safely stored in a bottle, or the mother can breastfeed her infant on site. In both cases, you can claim CACFP reimbursement for these meals because the parents provided only one component of CACFP meals. We will discuss more on parent-provided components later in this video. If you have leftover breast milk, this should be stored according to local sanitation policies. If the infant takes formula instead, make sure that the formula is iron fortified, meaning that it has 1 milligram or more of iron for every 100 calories. To determine this, check the nutrition facts labels. All formulas served in CACFP must be regulated by the FDA. Once an infant turns 6 months, they will move into the 6 to 11 month age group. For this age group, you will continue to serve breast milk or iron fortified infant formula at all meals and snacks claimed for CACFP reimbursement. In this age group, the serving sizes for meals such as breakfast, lunch, and supper increase to 6 to 8 fluid ounces, while the serving sizes for snacks reduce to 2 to 4 fluid ounces. Once an infant is developmentally ready, sponsors and providers can gradually introduce solid foods. All infants are different, so some infants may be ready for solid foods before or after 6 months. Sponsors and providers should work with the infant's family to determine when they are developmentally ready for solid foods. The American Academy of Pediatrics has specific guidelines for developmental readiness. This is an infant who is developmentally ready for solid foods. You can see in this image that the infant's mouth is open and ready for food. Having an open mouth when food is around or reaching for food is one of the signs of developmental readiness. Another sign is if the infant sits in a chair with good head control. In this photo, the infant can support their head and is able to look at their child care provider while they are seated. One more sign of developmental readiness is being able to use their tongue to move food from the spoon into their mouth. The tongue does not consistently push food out of the mouth. Once an infant is developmentally ready at breakfast, lunch, and supper, They should be served up to 4 tablespoons of grains or meats or meat alternates, or a combination of all these food components. If serving grains at breakfast, lunch, and supper, infants can only be served iron-fortified infant cereals. If serving meat or meat alternates, a wide range of meats, poultry, fish, whole eggs, cooked beans and peas, cheese, cottage cheese, or yogurt can be served. Vegetables or fruits also have to be served when an infant is developmentally ready. The portion size is up to 2 tablespoons. Remember to consider the food texture and the size of the vegetable or fruit when serving infants. Grapes, cherry tomatoes, and hard carrots can all pose choking hazards. While 100% fruit juice is creditable for the child meal pattern, it is not creditable for the infant meal pattern. At snack time, the components for developmentally ready infants are a little different. Up to 4 tablespoons of grains are required, with no option to substitute meats or meat alternates. However, more grain options are allowed. While the only grain options for infants at mealtimes are iron-fortified infant cereal, ready-to-eat cereals such as Cheerios, bread slices, and crackers are also allowed at snack time. Up to 2 tablespoons of vegetables or fruits are still required at snack time. Again, be careful with texture and size, and remember that juices are not allowed in CACFP for infants. When it comes to CACFP, parents can provide up to 1 component in a reimbursable meal or snack. However, the sponsor or childcare provider must provide all other required components. Let's look at 3 different examples. In the first example, you have a 4-month-old infant who only needs breast milk or formula. The parent decides to provide expressed breast milk for all meals and snacks. Would these meals and snacks be reimbursable? Yes, this is because the parent is only providing 1 component. Moving on to our second example, you have a 7-month-old infant who is starting to eat solids. The parent has been providing an iron-fortified infant cereal, but the daycare provider is providing the iron-fortified infant formula. Would the infant's meals and snacks be reimbursable? Yes. Again, the parent only provided 1 component. They can choose to provide a solid food component as long as the daycare provider supplies all the other components, including the iron-fortified infant formula. Finally, let's look at our last example. You have a 9-month-old infant whose parent is providing both an infant formula and also fruits. The daycare provides all the other solid foods, including grains, meats, and vegetables during the day. Would this infant's meals and snacks be reimbursable? No. In this case, even though the daycare is providing all other components, because the parent provided 2 components, these meals and snacks are not reimbursable. While families can choose to provide breast milk or their own infant formulas while their infant is in care, sponsors and providers should know that they are required to offer at least 1 type of iron-fortified infant formula. All infant formulas offered must be FDA regulated and include at least 1 milligram of iron per 100 calories. Parents and guardians may decline the iron-fortified infant formula that is provided by the sponsor or provider. However, the sponsor or provider cannot force or push families to bring their own formula or breast milk. In cases where an infant requires a non-iron fortified formula, or FDA-exempt formula, sponsors or providers must have a medical statement that is filled out by a licensed healthcare professional on file in order for the meals and snacks to be reimbursable. Sponsors or providers can ask the parents or guardians to take the medical statement to their licensed healthcare professional to fill out. In this training, we learned that infants have two age groups, 0 to 5 months and 6 to 11 months. We also learned that all infants must be given breast milk or iron-fortified infant formula. Infants are typically ready for solid foods around 6 months of age, but that can vary, and sponsors and daycare providers should look for physical signs that they are developmentally ready. Finally, parents and guardians can choose to provide one food component per meal or snack. However, they cannot be forced to provide any food components for CACFP meals or snacks. Infant meals are certainly very different from the child and adult meal pattern, but these requirements will help infants to get a healthy start in life. Thank you for watching the CACFP meal pattern short on infant meal pattern basics. ODE is committed to equity and excellence for every learner, and we want to make sure that our communities are supported in their goal to reach equitable implementation of policies, practices, procedures, and legislation. For more CACFP meal pattern videos, check out the ODE CNP YouTube channel. This institution is an equal opportunity provider.